was young, maybe 7 or 8 years old, I built myself a Dalek out of cardboard boxes. It was something like this, a smaller box on top. This would be what we'd call the dome these days. And underneath would be a larger box, and that's our skirt and fender, as we refer to them these days. This is looking like a Dalek out of a film clip. Anyway, yeah, so smaller box on top. That was the dome body, and yeah, I thought this was great. It's well within my 8-year-old's capability of building a Dalek, except when it came to things like the eye stalk. So for this, I was using all of these things, the arm and the gun and the eye stalk. These were cling wrap rolls or glad wrap. Yeah, it's the same sort of stuff, different brand names in different countries, I imagine, but long rolls. But the dilemma I had as an 8-year-old, my ideas for joining things together was limited to like sticky tape and paper glue. So trying to stick a roll to the end of a cardboard box, yeah, it was a dilemma. I tried, sticky tape here, thing falls down. But I had an older brother, and he was quite a deal older than me, and he came across what I was building. He thought it was a great idea. Building a Dalek, great. But he came up with the idea of using wire, like wire loop. This is look like wire loops here. Yeah, punch holes through the cardboard, the roll, the box, put loop of wire through, twist it, hold it in place. Same thing for all of these, and that was great. And even a hinge on the back. This is behind it, obviously. A loop of wire to hinge the lid, the dome, onto the body of the Dalek. And of course, I could climb inside this Dalek and I can walk around. I was bloody happy with that. Really good, really, really happy. But I think it only lasted a couple of weeks. The rest of the family got it had to go. So it only lasted a couple of weeks. I think the novelty wore off pretty quickly anyway, as things do when you're a young pup. So anyway, that was my first Dalek build. Haven't forgotten it. And here we go. Did it again as a much more skilled and resourceful adult. Here I'm going to go over some of the history of the Dalek designs and lead you to the design that I end up choosing for my build. So this article on Quora by Theodore Castle, it takes us through all the colour changes of the Daleks over the decades that's been going. So in each series or movie, there's always been changes, variations between them. Some are refinements, some are just changes for the sake of it, modernisation, etc. Giving me extra capabilities, whatever excuse there is for changing the design of the Daleks from the very first show. So it's, as he says, it's been constantly shifting since the 60s. So the very first show, what makes these ones identifiable is the light blue domes, and there's no slats here on around the shoulders. So this is the very first Dalek. Also, it has a fairly short bumper or fender down the bottom. And we move on to, this is Mark 1, by the way, Mark 1 Dalek. Move on to Mark 2, and you find that still no slats around the shoulders, but we've got this dish on the back. So that's very distinct to Mark 2, having this satellite dish thing on the back, which is supposedly how they receive their power for motivation. Still light blue domes on the skirt, but the fender itself, you can see it's much higher than the Mark 1. Now the difference and reason for that is the Mark 1's here. Sorry. The difference here is that the Mark 1s were wheeled around Fred Flintstone style. Now the feet would be out the bottom, motivating thing across the floor, and the whole unit would be on casters, and they're using their feet to turn and move the Daleks around. But with this one, so this is Daleks Invasion Earth. The Daleks have come to Earth to invade Earth, and these things are trundling around the streets and footpaths and mine sites, etc. And instead of using feet, they used a tricycle type setup for the operator inside the Dalek. And to accommodate the extra height of the tricycle, there's this high bumper down the bottom, this fender, to accommodate and hide the tricycle setup underneath. It's actually Mark II Dalek. Got colour variations in here because this is what the article is about, the colours. They move on to Mark IIIs. Now we've got the slats. Now these slats stick with it. The additional slats become traditional slats and stick with the Daleks from this point on. It's visually, it's much more appealing, I believe, than the earlier ones with no slats at all. But yeah, it's probably a matter of taste and opinion, I guess. So this is my favourite. This is my favourite Dalek, the Mark III. I think it's been more refined. The roughness of the earlier ones have been ironed out. The dish just looks silly. Always thought it was silly. The earlier ones without the slats, they're alright. I don't mind the Mark Is really, but I think the slats just finish it off. And they're such a great addition. They've carried that similar design through, right, all the way through the history of the Daleks. So scrolling through this article is all about the colours and the various shows or movies. Oh, these are movie Daleks, by the way, because they're identifiable. But the early movies, the 60s, they got drinking tumblers for their lights, their dome lights. It makes them very distinct from others, and you can see they got the high fenders for trundling around the streets on. Anyway, this article just continues on with more. You got your command type Daleks, a lot of different colours, etc. So this is what this article's about, but it does show these design changes, which I want to take you through. We've still got Mark III Daleks happening here. My favourites. Evil of the Daleks. Yes. The guns too is another change, but I'll probably cover the guns between Mark 1 to 3 as I get to that, I think. Don't have to do everything right now. Here we go. So that's it. That's my choice. Of course, the Mark IIIs were what I basically grew up with. They were my inspiration for building my first cardboard Dalek. And they continued on. The Daleks through the 70s became much more colourful, different colour schemes. The silver and blue simple colours were left behind for these more comprehensive colour schemes, I guess you'd call them. And here we go, there's some special Daleks. We've got the special weapons Dalek. Can't remember what that was from, but we now have the slats changing. So these must be new series Daleks. Imperial Daleks, I believe, were the 80s. And new series Daleks sort of starting around here. They got the distinctive slats. I think they're much bigger, different guns. There's just so many. It keeps going. I did not like these humpback Daleks. Did anybody like them? I don't know. I never see them around. I don't know if anyone's built them or not, but I'm certainly not a fan of them. Anyway, I keep scrolling on. I think some of the stuff might be out of time, or it's flashback to earlier Daleks from shows. Wow. Anyway, if you guys want to visit this article, feel free. There's other articles around too, which sort of cover the design changes over the decades. This one's primarily focused on the colour, like I said, so it does intrinsically cover some of the design changes. So I could point out to you the Mark III Dalek. I've almost by accident, by starting this project, I'm becoming a Dalek expert. Yeah, I saw a Mark One Dalek the other day. Is it the Mark Three gun? No, that's not right. That's not right. So in Australia, Davo is a nickname for anyone called David. Typically, Davo is going to be the guy at the barbecue. If you type Davo into AI, this is what you get. It's quite the package, as you can see. Davo is old school, but there's not too many Davids around these days anyway. It's one of those names that's not as popular as it used to be. And Davo, yeah, Davo's usually genial guy, friendly, helpful, everyone's mate sort of thing. His name's David, obviously. Hey, Davo, it's his nickname. If he wasn't friendly and jovial, we'd just call him cunt. But there is a bit more to Davo. So back in the mid-90s, there was this pop artist called Prince. But after a while, he decided, nah, Love Symbol is going to be his name. He wants everyone to know him as Love Symbol. And that's a damn hard thing to type, and put in newsprint, etc. So what do you do with that? How do you work with that? So here's an old article from the mid-90s, Australian Financial Review. So his record company at the time started referring to him as the artist formerly known as Prince. They had trouble dealing with it. Now, around the same time, there's a youth radio station, national radio station in Australia called Triple J, and they ran a radio competition on what are we going to call Prince. Now, no one in Australia really relates to Love Symbol as a name. It's hard to work with, can't print it, etc. People submitted their entries, of course, and they chose the best one, which was Davo. Davo. Aussies can relate to Davo. They can't relate to Love Symbol. So I bet you're wondering how Davo fits in with the Dalek, why I chose it. Well, it doesn't. It's complete and utter nonsense association, opposites, juxtaposition, whatever you want to call it. And it's, right up my line of sense of humour, I'm afraid. Sorry about that, but yeah, you'll get used to it.
This is my journey to live the dream. Come along with me on my build journey down the wormhole.